Hello everyone, my name is Dmitry, I am with you again, and today I want to tell you about what happened after the collapse of Yugoslavia and how a small Yugoslavia exists in the form of Serbia and Montenegro for some time. If you are interested, I will leave a link to the material in the description. So, after the apparent collapse of Socialist Yugoslavia on February 12, 1992, the leaders of Serbia and Montenegro met in Titograd and signed the basic provisions of the organization and functioning of Yugoslavia as a single state. The basic principles were proclaimed: voluntary membership of the republics based on the right to self-determination, their equality, territorial integrity of the United States and the Republic Serbia and Montenegro, unity of the market, independence and the organization of power in the republics. A bicameral parliament was also created. The new Yugoslavia, created on the wreckage of Socialist Yugoslavia, received from the latter a flag, an anthem and capital. Moreover, any Yugoslav republics could join the new federation, although the world community for a long time did not recognize the FR Yugoslavia as the year of Socialist Yugoslavia. On April 27, 1992, the People's Republics of Serbia and Montenegro adopted the constitution of the federation. It provided for a system of federal authorities: the Union Assembly or Parliament, the federal government, the federal court, the prosecutor's office, the National Bank and much more. Some called the new state a time bomb because Slobodan Milosevic desired to make Serbia the basis of a new federation led to the fact that some contradictions began to arise between the leaders of Serbia and Montenegro. Throughout the 1990s, Yugoslav federalism was steadily plunging into crisis. Since the mid-1990s, Montenegro has been pursuing an increasingly independent foreign policy. Although more serious contradictions arose in the sphere of the economy, which developed under the conditions of economic sanctions imposed by the UN on May 30, 1992. Under these conditions, the main critic of the Serbian and Allied leaderships is the chairman of the government of the Republic of Montenegro, Milo Djukanovic. Until 1997, as now, he was the Prime Minister of Montenegro. This politician came to power on the wave of criticism of the federal center, with an emphasis on the fact that Montenegro suffered from sanctions much more than Serbia, due to its much greater dependence on foreign economic relations. Even before the beginning of the aggravation of the situation in Kosovo, Milo Djukanovic, in an interview with Vreme magazine, declared Slobodan Milosevic an incompetent politician advocating the settlement of the conflict by political means. In the summer of 1998, the Parliament of Montenegro demanded that all Montenegrin soldiers from that republic serving in Kosovo be urgently recalled and transferred to units stationed in Montenegro. Milo Djukanovic sharply criticized the operation of the Yugoslav army and Serbian police in Kosovo. Milo Djukanovic says the only way to solve the Kosovo problem is the change of Belgrade regime, which in his opinion led the country to international isolation. NATO's aggression against the Federal Republic Yugoslavia led to an escalation of the conflict between Montenegro and the federal center. This is evidenced by the fact that during the war Milo Djukanovic refused to sever relations with the NATO member countries and impose martial law in the republic. Against the background of the bombing of Serbia by NATO plans, the Montenegrin government introduced a visa-free regime for citizens of Western Europe, accepted Albanian refugees from Kosovo. During the Kosovo conflict, the ties of the President of Montenegro with the Serbian position have strengthened, in particular with the leader of the Democratic Party Zoran Djindjic, who at that time was hiding from the Belgrade authorities in Montenegro. After Milosevic's departure in October 2000, it became more difficult for Djukanovic to play on the Serbian-Montenegrin contradiction, since opposition parties came to power in Serbia as well as in Montenegro, which enjoyed the support of the EU and the United States. However, he continued to play on Serbian nationalism, which was largely facilitated by Serbian politicians themselves. Many of them, despite differences in political beliefs, continued to deny the existence of Montenegrins as an ethnos and nation, as a state their rights to a special church organization within the Orthodox Church. The President of Montenegro, Milo Djukanovic, already intended to hold a referendum on the independence of his republic without delay. However, events took a slightly different turn when the European Union intervened, offering a compromise option. Yugoslavia is transformed into a new state entity, Serbia and Montenegro. On February 5, 2003, after the approval of the constitutional charter in the Union Parliament, the Federal Republic Yugoslavia officially ceased to exist. The features of the signed agreement between Serbia and Montenegro were compromise and vagueness. The treaty did not say much when determining the form of the state. The agreement started that in the event of Montenegro's withdrawal from the community, Serbia becomes the sole legal successor. Montenegro had its own tax system and customs regulations. Having refused the dinar, the afterjust of Podgorica first switched to the German mark and then to the euro. It is noteworthy that only Serbia allocated funds from its budget for the maintenance of a single state with Montenegro. As a result, a referendum of the independence of Montenegro was held on May 22, 2006 and logically led to another fragmentation which began in the early 90s with the collapse of the Social Federal Republic Yugoslavia.